DJ, welcome back.
Thanks, man.
Thanks for
Good to be here.
joining us in this section. In this segment, we're going to talk about buy here, pay here. So want to make sure that all these new students that are all ready to go out there and start their business and think they're going to make $1 million off of doing buy here, pay here, want to dispel some of the myths. I think that's important. So, you know what? I'm going to go up there and buy that $500 car, man. I'm going to get $500 down and put it on note. What do you think?
Good luck. The first thing I'll say on buy here, pay here is be very, very cautious. Walk that path very slowly. Learn the business before you decide to do that. But the idea of buying a $500 car, getting $500 down, and being able to get paid, that's just not feasible. The first rule in buy here, pay here is know your customer, know whether you think they have the ability to pay and do they have the intent to pay. But the car you put them in, that car has to be able to live for the length of the loan that you're going to make them.
Right.
And if something happens something breaks on that car, something goes wrong with that car, and they can't use it, you've got to be willing to step in and help them get it fixed, even if it means you paying for it and adding it on the tail end of the note. Because if the car is not running, if they can't get to work, if they can't get where they need to go, they're not going to pay for it, and
Right.
you're going to get it back.
Right.
And when you do get it back, it's probably not going to be in the best shape. One of the primary things that a buy here, pay here lot that I'm familiar with, they like to try to get, especially a new customer. Now, if it's a repeat customer, they've bought 2 or 3 cars, they don't do this. But if it's a brand new customer, they actually want that customer to walk in, make the payment there, rather than doing it over the phone or online. And one of the reasons they want to do that is you want to look at the car.
Right.
You want to see, is the car looking okay, and you want to make sure that they're maintaining it, even to the point where you basically do oil and filter changes for dead cost while they're making their payment. Let us take it over there and do oil and filter for you, because that's some of the cheapest insurance you can have.
Absolutely.
To keep a car out there running.
That's a great point.
And it also gives you the opportunity to look it over and make sure there aren't any other problems that are manifesting themselves.
And you're exactly right. I actually did buy here, pay here when I first got into the business years ago, and it was a nightmare. It was a river bottom nightmare, actually. I don't think any one deal ever went all the way through, because I didn't take your advice. I was new in the business, and we didn't offer the oil changes. If it broke, it broke. And you're exactly right. The people that, unfortunately, and I'm not trying to stereotype a person, but my experience was everyone that I put in a buy here, pay here car ended up not finishing the term. Either it broke and they couldn't fix it, or they went bankrupt and I got the car back, or whatever. And you're absolutely right. When you get those cars back, they are trash. Because if they can't afford to go to a regular lot and get financed, nobody else has already financed them. The credit unions have shot them down. Even the First Franklins and the Landmarks of the world have shot them down because their credit's so low. And you're absolutely right. If they're not maintaining them, if you as a buy here, pay here dealer aren't working with that customer to make sure that car's maintained, you're going to get it back.
Well, I think the primary thing there is make sure you've got a good, solid vehicle that you're putting them out in. Make sure that in your mind, you're not putting it on the road and putting it out with something you know is going to go wrong with it.
That's good advice.
If there's something that needs to be fixed, if there's something that you can say, well, it's going to probably break in the next 90 days, go ahead and fix it. Because if you can get that customer out there and get the first 6 months under their belt, where they've not had issues with the car and they're making their payments, you got a much higher likelihood of keeping them going. But the other thing, the days of, first of all, you can't buy cheap cars. There's no such thing anymore. But you've got to buy a vehicle that you just have a good, solid, realistic expectation that if you finance it for 2 years or 3 years or whatever term you do, it's going to last that long.
Right.
And if it isn't, you're kidding yourself.
Exactly.
There's been a lot of people that have made a lot of money in buy here, pay here.
Absolutely.
But they did it very slowly, very cautiously, and they learn the nuances. Buy here, pay here is unlike any other segment of the automobile business. And if you don't learn it, and if you don't take it very slowly, very cautiously, you can end up putting yourself out of business.
I was just gonna say that I've seen so many buy here, pay here's that have buy here, pay here themselves right out of business
Yeah.
and don't exist anymore. And also a lot of them that end up selling off their notes and losing money on the cars because they're not collecting. So that's something else that.
Well,
you
that
think
is
about.
one thing, that if you are judicious about the way you do it, and you put together a good performing portfolio, there are companies that will come in and buy that portfolio and turn it into cash.
Right.
But you've got to be able to demonstrate that the payments are being made, the vehicles are still running. Otherwise, you're not going to get anybody that'll come in and cash you out.
Right. What about, what do you think is the best way to pay for these cars? Do you put those people on monthly or do you do it weekly?
I think it all depends on the customer. How do they get paid? Do they get a paycheck every week? Well, you very well might want to start them out, especially a new customer, but make them pay every week. If they get paid every 2 weeks, make them pay every 2 weeks.
Right.
Now, once you've got a customer, let's say you put somebody out on a buy here, pay here note, and they go all the way through the note and they pay you fine. And they come back in and they want to trade and get another car, but their credit is still not that you can go out and get them bought someplace else. If you've got a good track record with the people, then you might want to consider doing monthly.
Right. At that point, they prove themselves.
Right, and the dealership that I work with, that is in the buy here, pay here business, they have weekly payments, bi-weekly payments, and monthly payments depending on the customer. And it's pretty much the customer that dictates how those payments are. But I would encourage anybody, if you're just getting into it, do weekly, because it's easier to know you have an issue after a week than it is after a month.
I agree. Yeah. Well, Deej, I think, we've given them a pretty good start here. And, I appreciate your time in this segment and talking about it, especially with all your experience. And you've dealt with a lot of buy here, pay here lots over the years, plus, putting people into the credit union business. So we appreciate your expertise in there. I think these guys have a little bit to chew on here and learn about, and not just jumping in and getting the buy here, pay here thing going for them from day one and spending all their money and not having anything to finance any new inventory coming in.
And if you do it wrong, it's a quick way to put yourself out of business.
Exactly. Well, DJ, thank you so much.
welcome,
We
man.
really appreciate it. Thank you.